Hi there, my name is Aaron, and today we're in the Cult of Cinema talking with Heath from CerealAtMidnite, whose channel will be linked down below. So if you don't know Heath, and I can't believe that you wouldn't, because when you're looking for movies, when you're looking for from any company, yeah, just look behind him. He's pretty much like he knows it all, and he talks about it all.
Over there, and they're over there.
I'm so sad because my shelves are bare right now. We're doing a section right now talking about your favorite scary movie. And Heath, you're the inaugural episode for this one right here. We will be doing later on, by the way, guys. So keep an eye out for this. Your favorite Saturday morning show, and that's something that I'm actually very excited to do. So I'm gonna get you back for that one. But Heath, as they say, what's your favorite scary movie?
What's your favorite scary movie? I really struggled with this one, right? Because we all like picking a favorite's hard. We do lists, I could be like, well, I could do a top 10 list of favorite werewolf movies or whatever. I'm a slasher guy most of the time, but I was really thinking about this and I was like, what's the most comforting horror movie? What's the one that I like to go back to over and over? And I shot down Bride of Frankenstein and I shot down the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I was like, you know what? It's probably An American Werewolf in London, because that movie feels, my line for that is it feels like a warm werewolf blanket. There's something about that movie that feels so, it's because it's funny and it's also genuinely creepy, and it's got the excellent makeup effects, Rick Baker. And I don't even know, where do I want to start here? So I love that it's in London. I love that it's a travel tale. Like we're out of our element, right? We've got two American guys that are out of their element and thrown into circumstances beyond their control. And then it gets real crazy, and the town has a secret. So that's working as well. You've got the out of our element. The town has a secret. What's going on? And then I love what it does for werewolves too, because I guess American Werewolf in Paris tried to up American Werewolf in London, and you can't. Now I like An American Werewolf in Paris. I know I'm one of the few. I like it because it's got some cool things that it tries to do. It's in Paris. It's An American Werewolf in London. If it's in Paris, it's cool. It's totally different. But there's something about that werewolf makeup that, like, you can look at it and you can be like, okay, well, there's the puppet. There's the, you can see how it works now all these years removed. But it's effective, man. And the scene in the, I'm just assuming everybody has seen this if you're watching this, but I'll keep it mildly spoiler-free. The scene in the underground where the guy is running, you see almost nothing. It's like Hitchcock, right? It's angles and it's the noise. You hear the growling. You don't hear the howling. You hear the growling. And then just at the very end of the scene is the guy's like trying to get up the stairs, the escalator, just the head coming into frame. And it's like, it's amazing. So probably, it was actually having a conversation with some of my viewers recently about limitations force you to innovate. And you look at what happened on the set of Jaws with the shark not working and they had to come up with so many creative elements, because you can't actually have, well, you can, they did it in Dog Soldiers, but they weren't doing it at the time of An American Werewolf in London, to have like a full suit with someone just like running around in the London subway, the London Underground. You can't really do that and it looked great. So the limitations that they were forced to work with create a sense of mystery. And I also love that John Landis seems to be having the time of his life through the whole movie. There's just a constant sense of like it's fun, it's silly, and in really dark situations. During the transformation scene, the music choices. I mean, the music choices throughout the whole movie. There'll be this terrible act on screen, and it's like bomb 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 bomb. He's undercutting everything, but it works so well. And it has a real twinkle in its eye. And then the whole stuff with See You Next. It's the See You Next Wednesday. I can never remember the day, Aaron. Is it
I
next
think
Tuesday
so.
or next Wednesday?
I love the movie. I got to mention this. The nightmare scene literally gave me nightmares from this movie. The Nazi werewolf.
It's a double layer.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's the second one. It's the second one that made me really freaking jump. And it's still, when I see that still shot, I still get like, I think things stay with you when you're a kid, like when you get older. They do for me. Like, I think that scared me when I was in my youth. Still, kind of, I still get like kind of the chill up my spine. So when I see that shot now with the eyes and that still freaks me out. But that, yeah, Jenny Agutter in this one, Griffin Dunn, and just is incredible. And the guy for me at the time, I was a little bit older than you, Dr. Pepper. He was a spokesperson for Dr. Pepper. So he was like doing the singing Dr. Pepper commercials. The I'm a pepper, you're a pepper. You know, that came out back then.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned American Werewolf in London, because it's one of my favorite like werewolf movies. I think The Howling is still my favorite, but I go back and forth because it's so good. And the effects are so good. And just like you mentioned, it's so limited. But what they do with the limitations, like when you think of like werewolf transformations, like automatically you will think of you'll think of this. You'll think of this whole like, kind of thing going out there. And I remember doing that. Freeze freak of my cousin, actually. I used to go and I do, like, oh no, I'm going to change. And I just kind of do it. But
right, Aaron, that's really scary. Stop it.
Exactly. But yeah, I love that film.
And it's funny. It's really fun. Like, there's a huge sense of humor running through the movie. And like the little boy, he ends up in the zoo naked, and then he gets the little boy's balloons, and she's the little boy goes to his mom, and he's like, "Mommy, a naked American man stole my balloons." Like, it's funny. It's great stuff.
And it is. I mean, like the things like people all go like, well, it's not serious enough. Like, not everything has to be totally serious. And two, it's the humor and the way that it's utilized that makes the scares work more.
That is it. Boom.
When you take things too seriously in a horror film, in a lot of cases, and when you take yourself too seriously, I find this, and your films, they tend to be too downbeat to the point where it just loses its effectiveness. Not with every film, but with certain films, I've found that it's super serious. Zack Snyder, and to the point where you're just not enjoying yourself anymore.
Yeah.
But this is one of those cases where you are enjoying yourself. Like, and where films that work best do tend to utilize that. Dark Soldier has a bit of humor in it. The Howling definitely has a lot of humor in it. All the werewolf movies that have worked well, because of that. And even like the newer Wolfman film does it a bit, but not enough. And I think that's one of the things that kind of like distances yourself, because it takes itself just a bit too seriously. And at the end of the day, it's a wolf. It's a person turning into a wolf.
Yeah.
To make this scary, the best way to do that, in my opinion, is to put your guard down.
I agree with you 100%. And the movies that take themselves too seriously, and in my experience, the more serious a movie thinks that it is, the more campy it's going to be in 10 years or 20 years. They do not age well. Anything that doesn't get the joke, we're talking about a werewolf. Anything that doesn't get that joke is not going to age well. And people will eventually discover that. And I guess we all have our favorites, but I do see that more and more. And do you remember how serious we thought the 1989 Batman movie was? We thought that was like, oh my gosh, it's like Frank Miller brought to life. And then you look back on it and Nicholson is in a cartoon. Like, it's so campy. This stuff doesn't age well if you don't wink. You have to, as you say, you let your guard down. I think every good horror director knows that the combination of humor and horror work hand in hand. Tension, release. And when people have release, that's when they're most susceptible to be scared. So I love the movie. It's a great movie.
It's a good movie. It's a great choice. And so it's a wonderful start for this scary movie. I'm definitely getting you back again, because we're going to talk on another subject on like on Saturday mornings, because I'm a big your channel is literally called Cereal Midnight. I was a big cereal person for Saturday mornings, so we'll be talking about that. Well, I want to thank you for coming on. Is there anything you want to pimp out though before you go? Let people know.
When will no, just keep everybody keep your eyes peeled. The CerealAtMidnite.com. Lots of cool stuff coming up.
All right, so because I have no planned like intro or extra, because this is the way I roll with it. It's all gonzo.
This is real, man. This is happening right now.
I take this so seriously. There you go. No, take yourself too seriously. But you know, from Cereal at Midnight, from Call to Cinema, thank you so much. And down in the comment section, below, let us know what's your favorite scary movie.
Thank you for having me, Aaron. This was a blast.